What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio and welcome to the Draftkings Picks and Prediction Show. Be sure to tune in every Wednesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, where me, Weezy, Monk, and Gordo break down the upcoming card from a DFS perspective and give our predictions on the fights as well. Also, be sure to leave a like here on Pub Sports, subscribe to the channel as well so you don't miss out on the content throughout the week. Be sure to check out that contest for Pub Sports Radio on pubsportsradio.com. $100 to first. I think I got really close to winning it last week. Maybe a better week this week. But yeah, $100 to first. Go check that out, pubsportsradio.com. Go to contest and sign up for that. Always a fun time doing that on Saturdays. Other than that, as always, going to be going through our fight to target, fight to fade, fighter to fade, favorite dog. We'll talk some prize picks. We'll talk our favorite GPP plays, our cash plays, value plays, our dart throws. We'll go over lineups from last week. We'll give our lineups for this week. We'll answer any questions. We'll do our quick picks, all that good stuff. Lots of stuff to talk about today for UFC Vegas 70. Nikita Krylov going against Ryan Spann. Should be a very interesting card. We'll kick it to you first, Weezy. What is up? Are you looking forward to this card?
Definitely. It's a fun card. There's like 3 fights on this card that are like minus 300 or lower for the fight doesn't go to decision. So there's going to be a lot of violence here. We're in the small cage again, and we've got 7 debuting fighters on this card. So there should be some open doors for us to rinse the rest of this crowd by putting our heads together and figuring out the best plays here. So I'm looking forward to chopping it up.
Same here. We got Gordo. Gordo, what is up? You looking forward to the show?
Yes, I am indeed. Looking forward to talk some fights. You know, it doesn't matter where I am. Could be in a hotel in the middle of nowhere. We're still going to talk some fights, still going to make some money playing some DraftKings. I am looking forward to it. 3 Canadians in the card. Can't complain. I'm sure we talk about them later, but I'm happy there's fights. And as long as no one pulls a William Knight, we should be in for a good night.
Yeah, hopefully nobody pulls that again. I don't think it's possible for anybody to pull that again, but you never know. We got Monk in the room as well. Monk, what is up? You looking forward to this card?
Absolutely. What is up, fellas? We've got 3 tremendous DraftKings scores here in Suarez, Krylov, Spann. 2 of them are fighting each other. There's some interesting spots outside of that as well. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about it. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. All right, so we're going to start with the fight to target, and I'm gonna kick this one off. I think there's actually a lot of fights that I will be targeting heavy this week, but the fight I am targeting the heaviest is going to be the main event. Nikita Krylov, Ryan Spann. It's like minus 700. Fight doesn't go to decision. That is on Bet Online, but FanDuel, of course, has the fight doesn't go to decision at minus 1100. I think this fight finishes, and I think this fight finishes very early. I think both guys are live for a knockout. I could see either guy knocking out the other guy. I think both guys are live for the submission as well. I could see either guy getting a submission as well. So I think it's an absolute must target here. I think this fight probably ends in the first round. Ryan Spann has not seen the second round, I think 5 or 6 fights. So I'm going to be very, very heavily exposed. I don't have a strong lean one way or another. I'm going to kind of split my exposure. I like the underdog price there on Ryan Spann at 7,500, but if Krylov wins, he's going to put up a massive score as well. So love this fight, liking both sides, and going to have it in pretty much all my lineups. Monk, how about you? What is your favorite fight to target this week?
That is a great one. I'll get a little different. I'll go Charles Johnson and Ode Osbourne. They have 8 combined fights since the 1st of January 2021. Let's see. 6 of them, someone in those fights have scored over 100 points. 3 of them, someone scored the magical optimal average of over 109.44. 5 finishes in the first round, and 4 times someone has been optimal out of those fights, whether it's Charles Johnson, Ode Osbourne, or their opponents. I'm going to go along with that. Charles Johnson has left a lot of questions for me. I don't think he's just going to roll over Ode Osbourne here. I think the line is extremely, too wide is what I'm trying to say. Can't get the words out. He lost to Muhammad Makayev. He lost to Zalga Zamagulov, and then he beat Jimmy Flick, who hasn't fought since Tatiana Suarez fought last, basically. So I'm not convinced with Johnson. I think a finish could come from either side. So I'm going to target the crap out of the 9K versus 7.2K fight here. Oh, 2 weeks in a row. Yes. 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, no. I was building my lineup. Cut me some slack. I was building my lineup at the end of the show. But Weezy, what do you got for the fight to target?
Yeah, I mean, I listed 3. I listed the main event. I listed, and I'll give you the second one that I listed, which is Trevor Peek versus the Ghost Pepper. We almost saw Trevor Peek get finished in the first round of his DWCS fight against a guy in Malik Lewis who had like 7 professional fights. Trevor Peek is not skilled. He's not really skilled, but what he is is like a 10 out of 10 in terms of toughness, in terms of just power, in terms of just wanting to be in there. This guy would fight in a cornfield for free. I promise you, when they hand him his check after the fight, he won't know that he's getting paid. Like, I think he's just showing up because he knows he gets to fight another dude in the cage. So, and then with Gonzalez, you got a guy who's got a lot of power. He's got finishing ability, and I just think that this fight's going to be a car crash. Whoever wins is probably going to score a ton of points, and I think it's already like minus 400 for the fight not to go to decision. So, either way, whether it's Peak, whether it's Gonzalez, this fight's finishing inside the distance. It's going to end violently. There'll probably be a couple knockdowns. It's going to be a high-scoring fight.
Yeah, I can't wait for that fight. Probably my favorite fight on the card. Gordo, how about you? What is your favorite fight to target this week?
Yeah, I'm not going to skip any fights to talk about this one. Let's go right into the two Canadian matchup, because that feels like that should be my territory to talk about, right? I trash them all the time. I love them at the same time. But let's take Malott versus Yohan Lainesse, my fight to target. I know what you guys are thinking. Yohan Lainesse went out there, scored 39 points in a win. I get it. It's the elephant in the room. That was let's call it a one-off, because I don't think Mike Malott will let him do that. Mike Malott's a guy who is probably going to be, or definitely going to be, the much technical fighter, a guy with much more skills, much more well-rounded arsenal. But he's facing a guy who has one weapon for him, and that is power. And Yohan Lainesse, he's going to be forced to try to throw from every angle, because I think Malott's going to bring the pressure to him and not allow Lainesse to circle around the cage like he did last time. You see a few interviews as well. You know that Malott is pretty aware of the fact that Lainesse likes to tire. He likes to give up after a round or two. So I feel like Malott's going to pressure forward. He's going to force the exchange out of Lainesse, which is going to force one of two things. Lainesse going to land a bomb early and try to crack the chin of Mike Malott, or Mike Malott's going to get him out there in the first or second with some wrestling, with some technical ability of his own right. Either way, I see this fight finishing minus 300 not to go the distance, and I tend to agree.
Yeah, right there with you. I cannot wait for that fight as well. That main card's gonna be fun. The Krylov Spann fight, that the return of Suarez. You got Malott, Lainesse, Pete Gonzalez, Muniz, Allen. You got Sakai Mays on there. It's gonna be a good main card. Let's move on to our fight to fade here. Curious what you guys have for this. We'll start with you, Monk. What fight are you fading for this week?
I'm going to give you a favorite. Excuse me, if I can find him. There he is. I'm going to give you. Oh, geez, no. Actually, I'm changing it. I'm calling an audible. I'm going to give you the bum, Augusto Sakai, 8,300. Why is this dude favored over anyone in the terrible heavyweight division? He's lost 4 in a row by knockout. So how does he even have another fight? Oh, he's lost to the best of the best. Okay, fine. He has lost to Spivak, to Ivasa, Rosenstruik, over him at the end of his career. His one win was against Blagoy Ivanov in his last 5. He scored 66.5 points. 1.91 is what he scores per minute. He's like Derek Lewis without the knockout ability. It's like you're left with absolutely nothing. He gives up 111 when he loses. Mays has an okay strength of schedule. The Hamdi fight, that dude was on all kinds of steroids, so that one is a no contest. Beat Josh Parisian, actually humped him to death. He humped Josh Parisian to death, beat Rock Martinez, and then lost to Rodrigo Nascimento and somebody named Cyril Gahn, who's better than every single one of those people I named on the Augusto Sakai side. So give me Don'Tale Mays here. I don't know why the line looks like it does. I mean, as far as DraftKings, I want zero to do with Augusto Sakai. I'm fading him huge. He shouldn't be a favorite. 8,300 is way too much to pay, and that's a cheap price for Augusto Sakai.
Only one problem. We're talking a fight to fade, not the fighter to fade right now.
Oh, fuck. Well,
but you kind of
fade
skipped
it.
ahead.
I did skip ahead. That's how much I hate Augusto Sakai.
I guess so. My fight to fade is actually the same thing. I actually have a lot more confidence in Sakai than you do. But I think he wins this fight more often than not. But yeah, I think this fight probably does get out of the first round. If it gets out of the first round, I don't see these guys scoring well. I think Sakai eventually catches them probably, or even wins a decision. But I'm just not interested in either of these guys. I don't see Don'Tale Mays going out there and taking down Sakai like he did against Josh Parisian. Just a sloppy fight I really want nothing to do with. So I'm going to fade this fight as a whole. Probably not going to have a ton of it, hoping there's not a first-round knockout. But if there's not a first-round knockout, I don't see this fight scoring well. Weezy, what is your fight to fade for this week?
I thought I was being different fading Sakai Mays, but evidently not. I mean, neither one of these guys really scores much in terms of their DraftKings work rates. And I could just see it being a sloppy fight. But you know which one I will give you then is Aylin Perez versus Haley Cowan. I could see there being very few takedowns, but a lot of control time here, like a lot of fence control time. We kind of saw Aylin by default doing something she shouldn't have been doing against Stephanie Egger, and that's just going into the clinch over and over again. You don't do that against judokas. Judokas will absolutely toy with you in the clinch. They'll sweep you, they'll trip you, they'll reap you. They know all the tricks. They live there. And Aylin Perez kept going there over and over again against Egger, despite the fact that she kept losing pretty much every exchange in there. She kept doing it. But Haley Cowan's comfortable in the clinch. Aylin Perez is comfortable in the clinch. So I could see this being just a really sloppy, low output, low significant strike landing fight. And I am thinking that it could just be a low scoring fight as a result of that. It might not be a bad fight to fade overall.
Yep, don't hate that. Gordo, how about you? What is your fight to fade?
Yeah, I think you can make a case for any fight really to be something that is going to be a fun one and could have some high scoring. But for my fight to fade, I'm going to have to do something I hate doing, and that's going against Monk here. My fight to fade is going to be Charles Johnson versus Ode Osbourne. And to me, this just seems to be a matchup where Charles Johnson is not a guy getting a finish a lot of the time. A guy who I see really getting any finish potential of his own, or I think it's a fight that goes to
Yeah, Gordo is making no sense.
What's the last thing he said? He said, "I'm going against Monk," and then his Wi-Fi went out.
Gordo, you there?
Yeah, I'm back. You got to hear any of that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dude, you were cutting out like the whole time. We caught none of that, dude. That's why.
The hotel Wi-Fi, guys. I will try to do that one more time. I said I was fading Charles Johnson versus Ode Osbourne, which is going against Monk there. To me, it's a spot where you have guys who, especially in Charles Johnson, who don't really seem to have that same finishing potential. At the same time, he doesn't get finished too often. For Ode Osbourne, you usually have to have someone who gets finished early or he's going to fade down the stretch. To me, I think Charles Johnson's going to take his time. He's not going to get that same first-round finish potential that other people have around him. And for that reason, I think it goes to the judges' scorecards more times than not. I think it's going to be a spot where Ode Osbourne may be more careful after his recent knockout losses. And for that reason, I see it going over. And maybe Johnson's able to finish at the end, but not one I think scores too well.
Sounds good. We heard you loud and clear that time around. Thank you, Gordo, for that. All right, let's move on to our fighter to fade. I'll kick us off here. Wait, Monk, do you want to talk about your fight to fade first?
My fight to fade, I had Cowan Perez on there. I'll go Solecki and Deaton. I think Solecki's probably going to roll. I like him for cash, but I don't really like this fight for GPPs. Solecki's averaging like 90 or so points per win. That is about it. Just not really a high DraftKings score. There's a chance he absolutely rolls through Deaton here, but I like 9,600 better. I like 9,100 better. I like some other spots a bit better than Solecki for this. And then Carl Deaton, I don't know how he's going to beat Solecki. So I think Solecki wins, probably scores 90 points, maybe 10x, but I'm going to fade this fight as a whole for sure.
Yeah, he's not beating Solecki with that haircut, I'll tell you right now.
No, that's for sure.
It's bad haircut. But we'll move on to the fighter to fade. Monk, you gave yours. You are fading Sakai. I'm going to be fading Haley Cowan, 8,600. I think this fight's really close. I think this fight's going to go to decision. I think this fight's probably going to be a split decision even. I can see either fighter having success here and there. I don't see a ton going on. So I actually think it's a little bit too expensive for my liking there for Cowan. So I can't get to her. I'm picking her to win, actually, but even in a win, I just don't see her finishing Perez. I don't see her scoring all that well. So it's a pretty easy fade for me on Haley Cowan, 8,600. Gordo, what fighter are you fading this week?
Yeah, also fading Cowan, but we'll give you another answer as well, because why not? We're going to give you Fernandes at 8.4K, someone I'm fading. I think that the way the fight's going to play out, you're not going to see too many takedowns for Fernandes. I don't think she has too much finish potential. To me, she has the ability to rack up significant strikes, and I don't think she can do that too often when she's on her back. She's just not someone I want to go out there and actively look to roster when there's some better options around her. I don't think her ceiling's that high. I don't think she has too much finish potential. For that reason, I'll be fading her.
All right. And Weezy, what fighter are you fading this week?
Yeah, I had Haley Cowan on the list for a lot of the reasons that I talked about when I talked about why to fade the fight. I see it kind of taking place in the clinch for long periods of time. I don't see a lot of strikes landing, and I don't see either one of them necessarily getting a ton of takedowns either. So that one was one to fade. But I'll give you as well. I think is probably a good person to fade this week is just Montana De La Rosa. And I know that sounds stupid. Everyone knows that Tatiana is going to win, but I think you could punt with just about anybody but Montana this week and get a lot more points because, Tatiana Suarez is controlling her opponents over the long term for 75% of the fight. You're just not scoring points when you're being controlled. Very difficult to do that. So in that case, if on aggregate in a 15-minute fight, you're going to have like 4 minutes of being on your feet, like maybe being able to get a takedown, maybe being able to get some significant strikes to land, that's not enough time, even if your salary is only $6,600. So yeah, just stay away from her this week. Will be a good call.
All right, sounds good. All right, let's move on to our favorite dog. Weezy, let's stick with you. What is your favorite dog for this week?
Favorite dog on the list that I got. Oh, you know what? I went with Jordan Leavitt this week. I know he's only 8,000, so he's the most expensive dog this week. So it's a bit of a cop out, but I think this is a fantastic matchup for him. Victor Martinez does get taken down a lot. He gives up his back constantly, and he makes enough mistakes that Jordan can take advantage of. In addition to that, Jordan's a smart fighter, right? And what Victor is he's a boxer. He's a pocket boxer. He needs to be in the pocket so that he can land his strikes. Jordan, being a grappler first, is actually pretty good at keeping range. He throws a lot of kicks to keep distance. I don't think he's ever at any point in this fight going to engage with Victor Martinez in meaningful ways where Victor will be able to get off his offense. So I like Jordan Leavitt a lot this week. At 8,000, I think that there's a very high probability that he gets a first-round submission here because of all the mistakes that Victor Martinez makes on the ground.
Yep, I had Leavitt as well, but I'll give a different one. I have a lot of Jose Johnson this week at 7,700. I like this guy's frame. The guy's 6 foot at bantamweight. I like how dangerous he is. He's dangerous really wherever the fight goes. Armfield's been submitted twice. I think I could see a Jose Johnson submission off his back. I think that's definitely in play. I like the cardio of Johnson. He's dangerous really in any round. I like the power, especially of Johnson. So I'm looking at him to go out there and finish the fight at some point in this fight. And at 7,700, I don't mind some Jose Johnson. But yeah, I was on Jordan Leavitt as well. I'm going to have a ton of Jordan Leavitt at 8K. Gordo, how about you? Who's your favorite dog for this week?
Yeah, I think you can make a case for a lot of the dogs this week, and I do like me some Jordan Leavitt myself, but let's go a different one that you guys are definitely not going to say. Alan Perez. I think she's someone at 7.6K who has the ability to finish this fight more than her opponent, and at 7.6, she has, takedown upside, control time upside, and I do believe she does have finish upside. The same side of things, I don't think she's going to be taken out of there too early, too easily either, so she has a decent floor in her own right. I think she's able to, if she is going to lose, it's going to be probably by a striking or clinch-based decision, and I think that's still going to score her a decent amount of points. She's got a pretty high ceiling, pretty high floor, and at 7.6, I don't mind me some Alan Perez.
All right, and then Monk, how about you? Who's your favorite dog?
I'm also going to go with Jose Johnson here. Garrett Armfield was my second fighter to fade overall. He's a favorite at 8,500, so I really like the Johnson side of things here. It should be noted that since I've been doing Salary Voodoo, which is tracking salary since the 1st of January 2021, one salary only has made optimal lineup 30 times, and that is the 7,700 underdog salary. 30 times out of 85. That's a 35% optimal rate every time it steps into the cage. Has a win rate of almost 51% over its $8,500 counterpart. And when it does win, it makes optimal 70% of the time. Average ownership for this dog salary is only 24.6%. And according to the stats, that is under-owned by almost 11%, guys. Get 7,700 in your lineup. This is a 6-foot tall bantamweight who has skills on the feet, who's going against a less than ideal matchup, at least for him, Garrett Armfield, who gave up a ton of points against David Onama here. I love Jose Johnson, and I just wanted to try to give you a few different numbers there than Brady did to back up his pick.
Sounds good to me. All right. Let us talk some Prize Picks now. If you guys have not signed up on Prize Picks, be sure to sign up using promo code PubSports. We will start with you, Weezy. What is sticking out to you on Prize Picks this week? Anything?
Yeah, this week I put Gabriella Fernandes under 70.5 points. In this one, you really only get 20 points for a decision win, and there's a low probability of a finish here, but I kind of see Jasmine Jasudavicius having to wrestle in this spot because Gabriella Fernandes is a very, very talented striker, boxing coach. She's crisp. She's got great kicks from the outside. And we've seen Jasmine Jasudavicius get pieced up by girls that have 5-inch reach disadvantages against her. She's just not talented on the feet. She's landing 3 distance strikes per every minute at distance, and she's absorbing 7. So she's such a bad minute winner on the feet. I feel like if Jasmine's smart at all, she's going to have to wrestle in all 3 rounds. And if she does that, there's not going to be a lot of paths for Gabriella Fernandes to score points here. And even if she does get this win, I don't see her getting more than 50 points in a work rate over the course of the fight. So I'm going with Gabriella Fernandes under 70.5 fantasy score.
Sounds good. For me, I'm going to go with the under in fight time for Mike Malott. The dude's been out of the first round once. It was back in 2015. There was a fight that did go the full 15, went to a draw there. But yeah, I mean, the guy is going to get after it. He's going to pressure Lainesse. And he's very dangerous anywhere the fight goes. On the feet, he has a ton of power. On the mat, he's very, very good. So if it hits the mat, I think he gets the sub. But on the feet, both guys are going to be live for the knockout. Mike Malott, what I don't like about him, especially in this matchup, is he is hittable. He is willing to eat one to give one, and that could be bad. But I think somebody does get finished here, gets finished under that 7.5 minute mark there. So give me the under for that fight time on Mike Malott. Gordo, what are you liking for some Prize Picks this week?
Yeah, for me, this one was really obvious. And luckily enough, I am in the States, so I can play some Prize Picks. And I definitely will be including this as one of my picks. Taking Tatiana Suarez over 92.5 fantasy score. To me, that one absolutely jumps out of the page at you. She's a girl who averages 119 fantasy points on DraftKings. She's back. 9.6K. She has insane takedown upside, insane ability to win minutes with control time. And I do think she is someone who's going to score over that 92.5 price tag a lot of the time here. She's never gone below 98 points. She's a girl who I think has a ton of upside and should score very, very well. 92.5 is way too low in my opinion.
Yeah, that's almost like a free square unless she shows up with only one leg or something. But I mean, I don't see how she does not hit that in a win. Monk, how about you? What do you like for Prize Picks?
Yeah, that number is crazy. I'll give you Nurullo Aliyev 80 over 89.5 fantasy points. I think he gets the win here over Alves, and the way he fights, I mean, he's either going to have a ton of takedowns, a ton of control time, or both. So I just think he scores way over 89 points. Give me the over for Aliyev, 89.5 points total.
All right. Sounds good to me. If you guys have not, be sure to sign up on Prize Picks using promo code PUBSPORTS and check it out. Lots of options this week, I'd say. All right. Let us move on to our favorite GPP play, and we will start with you first, Monk. What are you liking for a GPP play this week?
Well, much like I gave you the bet, the first salary to hit 30 optimals, this one is three optimals out of 18. It's usually an awful salary to play. I usually fade it big time, but not this week, baby. Tatiana Suarez is probably going to be my highest owned fighter. I don't care how expensive she is, much like Jailton Almeida. I'm fully banking on her making the opt. She's the best DraftKings scorer possibly that we've ever seen, to be quite honest, just according to the numbers. 6.1 points per minute, 119, as Gordo said, per win. She is outscoring her opponents by 5 points per minute, guys. She's number 1 in takedown points per minute, 2.16 a minute. Number 1 in control time on the card, 1.35 per minute. She's also number 1 in striking points, 2.6 points per minute. This is like a cheat code, a free square, as somebody said earlier. All 5 of her wins have been over 90, 4 of them over 100, 3 of them over 110. She put up 156 against Carla Esparza. Guys, I mean, I don't care that she's been off for 4 years. Montana De La Rosa is about to get absolutely squashed in this position. She's going to get finished early, and if she doesn't, Suarez could score like 160 points in a decision. I'm not even kidding. To 13x her salary is 127.72. She averages almost that much right now, 120. Like it's a smash spot for Suarez. I mean, her ownership might be 50%. I might be 90% on Suarez, probably 120 maxes. She'll be in my single entries. I'm so excited to see what she can do here.
Yep, she is my highest stone as well as probably for many people. I mean, she should go out there and smash. Weezy, how about you? What is your favorite GPP play?
I went with Mike Malott this week. So I think Mike is better than Yohan everywhere. He's technical on the feet. He's got good power. He's fast. And he's a very opportunistic submission grappler. And this fight is the third most likely on the slate to finish inside the distance. So I see Mike winning in the first or second round, and he having a really big score this week. So at 9,200, it just allows you a little more price freedom to stay, in the favorite range there and stack up as many of those as you can. 9,600 for Suarez is very expensive, but obviously, like what Monk said, she scored 6.11 points per minute, and that's without any win points involved. I mean, she's absolutely crazy.
Yep. For me, I'm going to go with Trevor Peek, 8,900. I really like the price tag here for Trevor Peek. I do have some serious concerns about his striking defense, which he has none of, but the guy's very, very dangerous. He's going to go out there and he's going to fight for your money. He's going to look to take off the head of Eric Gonzalez, and it is Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. Another reason to like him as a GPP play this week. And I get it. I mean, if he wins this fight, I expect probably an early finish, and I think he has like 60-second upside. He's going to go in there. This is going to be an absolute car crash. I think somebody probably gets finished in the first round, and I think Trevor Peek's going to get Eric Gonzalez out of there. We saw Gonzalez get finished in the first round by McKinney, get knocked out by Jim Miller, get hurt multiple times in that fight. I think Peek is dangerous enough to finish Eric Gonzalez and do it in round one. So give me Trevor Peek at 8,900. Gordo, how about you? Who's your favorite GPP play?
Yeah, well, for me, it's Mike Malott, and we will tell you about a different one. I just want to mention Mike Malott at his salary. He's got an American flag beside his name. Come on, we got like 3 Canadian fighters, and on DraftKings that American flag as his profile picture. What's going on here? My GPP play, though, will be Nikita Krylov, main event. And I have not talked about him yet. He's a guy who I think when he wins this fight will score very, very well. Of course, this total set at 1.5. Both these guys are violent dudes, and they're going to go out there. They're going to go balls to the wall trying to get that finish. Nikita Krylov and all of his wins, he's never scored below 95 points. Is an exception here. I think if he does win this fight, it's a high scoring one. You have to always be wary of Ryan Spann's finishing ability, but did you lose me?
A little bit. You're like in and out.
Yeah.
We got like 80-70% of that.
Give me Krylov. How about that?
Let's go. Yeah. All right. There we go. I like it. We caught a lot of it, but we also missed a little bit. It's all good though. All right. Let's go to our favorite cash play. I'll kick it off. I'm taking Tatiana Suarez here, 9,600. She's a -800 favorite. I think she wins this fight in dominant fashion, whether it's her going out there, landing multiple takedowns, ton of ground and pound, getting a dominant decision, or even getting a finish. I think the finish is very alive in this matchup as well. I think she's probably, although she's on a 4-year layoff, I think she's probably the safest option on this card. I think there's a lot of fights this week where, their opponents are very live. A lot of these fights can go either way, and I just don't feel that way about this fight. I think Suarez goes in there, gets the job done in pretty dominant fashion, and scores a ton of this matchup. Weezy, what is your favorite cash play for this week?
I'm going to give you Nurullo Aliyev, Tajikistan stand up. This is your number one fighter coming into the UFC here, dude. They call him the Tajik Eagle because he fights like Khabib Nurmagomedov and because he looks like Khabib Nurmagomedov. And he's still only 22 years old. Don't believe what Tapology is telling you about this kid. He's not 23. He's still only 22. Just a baby. And the tape on him shows that he's already kind of mastered this wrestling control time grappling game where he lands shots from your guard, he stays safe from submissions, he piles up control time and multiple takedowns. I think it's a great spot for him, and at only 8,800, I think he could do a lot of the same things that Tatiana Suarez can do, only in a body that's 9 years younger and doesn't have 30 surgeries on it. And I think it's a great spot for him, man. And it's also $800 cheaper than Suarez.
Yep, I think he's a good one this week. I'll have a lot of him. Gordo, how about you?
Yeah, Tatiana Suarez, 9.6. Talked about her already for prize picks. I think she is the best cash option you got. unless she's got what did Monk say, a broken leg. There's no way that's not happening. I do think that she should be able to live up to her cash salary a lot of the time.
Yeah, unless she has to fight with like both of her arms tied behind her back, then I think De La Rosa could win this fight, but I don't think it's going to happen. Monk, how about you? What's your favorite cash play?
I mean, I had Suarez, but I already talked about her. I had Alves, already talked about him. So I would give you Joe Solecki, 9,400. I'm not going to be playing a ton of him in GPPs because he does not score well generally, although he could score very well in this fight. But 3.74 per minute. He's outscoring his opponents by 2 points per minute over his last 5 fights. He, spends 75% of his total fight time fighting inside the distance, and he controls almost 75% of all of that grappling time. He got out cardioed by Jared Gordon, but other than that, he's put together some solid wins. I'm still a bit concerned about the name value of the people that he's fought. Alex Da Silva, Austin Hubbard, Matt Wyman. Like, these are not great names really overall, but let's add Carl Deaton III right to that list. His strength of schedule is god awful. Solecki should easily roll through him here. And I think he's an extremely safe cash play at $9,400, and maybe even a good pivot off of Suarez if you're looking to pivot off of Suarez for some reason. So give me Solecki for a cash play.
Sounds good to me, Monk. And for those of you wondering, Jian Kim versus Mandy Bum has been rescheduled, and it's been rescheduled for May 13th, location TBA. So I know a lot of people are looking forward to that.
Yeah, location is hell.
They're going to put him in a cornfield somewhere with nobody watching. That would make the most sense for that fight. Why remake that fight? You know, what are we going to do next? Make Geely the movie again?
Yeah.
Come on.
What are we going to do? Give Augusto Sakai a 6th fight after this one?
God, man.
We might. We'll have to see, man. All right. Let's go to our favorite value play. I'm going to kick this one off. There's actually a couple that stick out. I think the one that I'm going to go with, though, is going to be Ode Osbourne, 7,200. I think there's some value on this guy. Like, I see this fight being pretty close. I am picking Charles Johnson to win the fight, but we're getting Ode Osbourne. Like, on the money line, the dude's only plus 128 with money still coming in on him. I think he's very, very dangerous, especially early. I think if this fight does go the distance, and that's kind of where I'm leaning, I think he could be competitive with Charles Johnson, who does start slow, who is coming on short notice. Yeah, I don't mind some shots on Ode Osbourne at this price tag. Like, it just seems way too low for me. Weezy, who is your favorite value play this week?
Yeah, I agree with you on that one for sure. I mean, Ode is live in this fight, and at the salary, and you look where the line is moving, there's a lot of line value right now on Ode Osbourne. But I'm going to give you somebody even cheaper. I'm going with Carl Deaton III at 6,800 here. I'm looking for Deaton to survive all 3 rounds with Solecki and maybe have some success in stretches of the fight. And maybe in a loss, he can score 30, 35 points here. And if he does that, I'm actually pretty happy this week because, you know, the bottom end of the spectrum, you know, there's not much there. And a lot of them could get finished too. So, or at least get dominated by their opponents in terms of wrestling and just not rack up points even over 15 minutes. So, you know, yeah, terrible haircut, but guess what, right? You got 2 shit haircuts on this card. One of them costs you $9,000. One of them costs you $6,800. Who's saving you money this week? It's your Uncle Weezy.
I could have sworn there was 3 bad haircuts, wasn't there?
Well, there's Jose Johnson. I'm not particularly caring for the bald everywhere, but you still have the ponytail, and then you've got frosted tips on the ponytail. It's not a good look either. It's something I wouldn't do personally.
It's not. There are 3 bad haircuts on this card. But yeah, I do like Jose Johnson's. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me. Monk, what is your favorite value play for this week?
Well, I've talked so much shit on him. I'm going to give you the other side. Dante Mays, the perpetrator of humping a man to death, possibly the best value on the entire card. If we're talking about like value, which is, you know, salary related to score, over his last 2 wins, he's got the highest value, or over his last 5 fights, which is 2 wins, he's got the highest value per win out of anyone on the card at 14. He beat Josh Parisian, scored 124. RIP Josh. Has anyone seen him since? Well, I certainly haven't. And then he beat, let's see, I guess Rock Martinez. That was not a good fight to talk about there. So give me Dontel Mays. I mean, everyone, you know, if somebody's been KO'd recently or in their past, people are like, oh, is he coming back too soon? He just got KO'd in his last fight. We've had that conversation 3 times in a row now. 4 KOs in a row. Now he's going against the more athletic, younger technically by a few months, a guy that trains with John Jones, Walt Harris. Give me Dante Mays all day here over the guy that's been KO'd by a gazillion heavyweights.
Sounds good to me. All right, Gordo, how about you? What do you like for a value play?
Yeah, I'm not going to get as bold to say Carl Deaton III, although respect to that. I'm going to go with Jasmine Jasudavicius as my value play this week. I think a 7.8. Her path to victory scores very well. Takedowns. I think that Fernandes is gonna force her to do that here, and I think that she's going to have the ability to rack up control time, takedowns, and honestly have a pretty high floor at that because of her price tag, and of course due to the probable outcome of this fight being a decision. So 7.8K, Jasmine Jasudavicius. I think there's some good value there.
Perfect. All right. Let us move on to our dart throw. And let's start with you, Monk. Who's your dart throw for this week?
Oops, almost. Not quite. You almost got me. Well, that was close. Not this time. I'm going with the Ghost Pepper, Eric Gonzalez. Where am I at here? Going against Trevor Peek. Yeah, I don't, what is this guy going to do if somehow Gonzalez avoids getting absolutely chin checked in the first round? I don't trust Peek. Peek, before he got the win, was giving up 6.8 points per minute so far up until that point. Gonzalez also gives up a ton of points. Somebody is probably going on the optimal lineup for this one. And if that's the case, if it's as close as it could be, if the ceilings are as comparable as I think they might be, then I'm automatically looking at the dog here, especially for a dart throw. I'm going to go with the Ghost Pepper at 7,300. Who could absolutely get chin checked, but if he doesn't, there is a chance that he does something with this salary.
Yeah, I think somebody gets served for sure in that fight, so I don't hate that call whatsoever. Gordo, who is your dart throw for this week?
Yeah, mine was going to be the Ghost Pepper as well. I mean, instead of doing that, though, I'm going to go over and give you another fight that's favored to end under 1.5 rounds, and we'll take the third Canadian for me to talk about today. We'll talk about Yohan Lainesse as a dart throw. He did score 39 points in his last win, but I like I already mentioned, I don't think that's going to happen here. I think Malott's a guy to push the pace, and I do think Malott wins this fight a lot of the time. It's just if Lainesse is going to win this fight, he's going to have to land a bomb early on. We know he has the power to do so, and I think he's going to come at very, very low ownership if he is able to do that. So give me Yohan Lainesse as a dart throw.
Sounds good. Weezy, how about you?
I'm going to give you Garrett Armfield this week. I don't think he's going to be high owned, so I think it's a good dart throw, but I feel as if his path to victory in this fight is to walk Jose down, close the distance, drown Jose in volume, combinations, and takedown attempts. He obviously needs to avoid the big shot and the sub attempts, but if he does and the game plan works, I mean, the way Garrett Armfield wins this fight is he breaks Jose Johnson late in the fight, or he gets takedowns in every single round, accrues a bunch of control time, and it's something that we've seen him do, and we've also seen Jose Johnson do, get styled on with the wrestling. Mo Miller and Ronnie Lawrence. And Ronnie Lawrence, while he's a good MMA wrestler, has no wrestling background to speak of whatsoever. So, I feel like Armfield is a favorite for a reason here, and I think that we're going to see him now against a much smaller guy. Well, not smaller, he's 6 feet, but he's going down a weight class. He's not fighting Onama up at 145. This is at his natural weight class, bantamweight. He's got a full camp for this. He's training with some good guys and some great wrestlers. So I think that Armfield at 8,500 will be low owned, but could potentially score 100 plus points in a win.
Absolutely agree. If he wins the fight, I think it's a big score. That's why I really do like targeting that fight as a whole. For me, I think there's a bunch of dart throws I like. I like Eric Gonzalez as a dart throw. I like Lainesse as a dart throw. But the one I'm going to give out that hasn't been talked about is going to be Rafael Alves, 7,400. And I like Aliev. I think Aliev has a very bright future ahead of him. But he's just not fought anybody yet. And if Alves does win this fight, if Alves was to pull off the upset, I think it's going to probably be in the first round, whether it's by knockout, whether it's by submission. This guy's super explosive. He's fought the better competition, has a ton of power on the feet, has a really good submission game. So Aliev's going to have to weather a serious storm early. So give me that first round upside for Alves. Like I said, I think the most likely scenario is Aliev going out there, mixing in takedowns for 3 rounds and putting up a really good score in his own right. But I think the path to victory for Alves is a first-round finish, and I'll be playing some of him as a dart throw. All right, what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about our lineups from last week. We'll talk about the current standings. We will give our lineups for this week. So if you guys are in the chat and if you have not already, be sure to type in maybe a question, maybe a comment, and then we will pull that up at the end. So last week we had in last place was me. I had Clayton Carpenter 98, AJ Fletcher 87, the very handsome Jessica Andrade 21, William Knight 3, Jamal Emmers 71, and then Jordan Wright 46. I was actually really happy with Jordan Wright getting 46 in a loss, but everything else was some crap. So I scored 328.34. In third place was Monk with 330. You had Clayton Carpenter 98, AJ Fletcher 87, Alexander Hernandez 79, Jessica Andrade 21, Josh Parisian 24, and Lena Landsberg 18. In second place was Gordo with Carpenter 98, Fletcher 87, Hernandez 79, Blanchfield 97, Elder 48, and then OSP 0.4. He scored 411. And then first place was Weezy, Carpenter 98, Palga 74, AJ Fletcher 87, Emmers 71, Blanchfield 97, and Lena Landsberg 18, scoring 448. Congratulations, Weezy. You were first place last week.
Yeah, I'll take it, man. Blanchfield got the job done as a dog. That's always great. When you get those dogs in the main event and they wind up winning and finishing, it's a great way to make the rest of your lineup a lot easier to get in there and place. So, yeah, that worked out well. And, I mean, we got really close standings this year. So, we got to keep plugging along every week, trying to grind out as many points as possible.
Absolutely. Current standings, we got Monk in fourth place with 19,056. And third place is me with 20,026. And second place is Weezy with 20. Or I am fried.
2,000. Yeah, we don't have 20,000 points yet. We maybe 3 years from now.
Yeah. Okay. So let me redo this one. Monk with 1,956. Me with 2,026. Sorry, just the decimal caught me off guard. Weezy with 2,168. And then Gordo with 2,193. Gordo, you are still in first place, and you are in first place by 25 points.
Ooh, it's a close one, but you know what? It's going to be a really fun card with lots of options. So I'm excited to see how it unfolds after this one. Every single week, if you mess up once, you could be all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. And then lineups for this week. Weezy, you got your lineup ready?
Sure do. Up top, we're going with Mike Malott, 9,200. We got Nurullo Aliyev, the Tajik Eagle, at 8,800. We got Nikita Krylov, 8,700. My dart throw of the week is Garrett Armfield, 8,500. Jordan Leavitt, 8,000. And Carl Deaton III, who made all of his ancestors ashamed of that haircut, at 6,800. But that's why he's so cheap.
Terrible haircut. Monk, do you have your lineup for this week?
Oh, yeah. We're going Tatiana, Suarez, Nurullo Aliyev, Nikita Krylov, Dante Mays, Jose Johnson, Ode Osbourne.
All right. Gordo, what do you got for this week?
Yeah, we're going to go Tatiana Suarez, Mike Malott, Jordan Leavitt, Jasmine Jasudavicius, Eileen Perez, and Jose Johnson. You heard it right. 3 women MMA fighters, and the one who shakes his ass the most is Jordan Leavitt.
Goodness, isn't that something? For me, I'm gonna go with Suarez 9,600, Peak 8,900, Aliyev 8,800, Jose Johnson 7,700, Jasudavicius 7,800, and then Ode Osbourne 7,200. Quick picks, and then we'll answer some questions and head out of here. Can't forget the quick picks. But Weezy, quick picks for this week.
Shit. Go move to someone else. I don't have the card.
Monk, quick picks for this week.
I'll go, Jose Johnson, Haley Cowan, although that one I have no idea of really. Nurullo Aliyev, Joe Solecki, Ode Osbourne, Victor Martinez, Jasmine Jasudavicius, Eric Gonzalez, Mike Malott, Tatiana Suarez, Dante Mays, André Muniz, and Nikita Krylov.
Gordo, how about you?
We're going to go with Jose Johnson, Eileen Perez, Nurullo Aliyev, Joe Solecki, Charles Johnson, Jordan Leavitt, Jasmine Jasudavicius for the first Canadian win of the year, Trevor Peak, Mike Malott, Tatiana Suarez, Don Tail Mays, André Muniz, and Nikita Krylov.
All right. Give me Armfield, Cowan, Aliev, Solecki, Johnson, Leavitt, Jasudavicius, Trevor Peak, Mike Malott, Tatiana Suarez, Augusto Sakai, André Muniz, and then Ryan Spann. Weezy, you got your quick picks for this week?
Yeah, Nikita Krylov, André Muniz. I already forgot who I picked last night on Just a Tip for Sakai Mays, but I think I do remember that I said I don't think either one of them should win. I will say Sakai. Tatiana Suarez, Mike Malott, Trevor Peak is Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week this week. Gabriella Fernandes, Jordan Leavitt, Charles Johnson, Joe Solecki, the Tajik Eagle, Nurilo Aliev, Haley Cowan, and I forgot who I picked in Jose Johnson Armfield, but I think I'm going with Johnson there to win the fight.
All right. And I think we had one question, if I'm not mistaken, and I can't even find it. So I think we're going to end the show here. Yeah, I can't find it. So that sucks. But I think it was something about like, who's your, oh, there it is. Did I miss the dog of the week? He's saying Leavitt's the dog of the week. My favorite dog, I think, was Leavitt as well. But I went with Jose Johnson because Weezy talked about Leavitt. Monk, your favorite dog was who?
Probably Mays or Johnson, honestly. Also, if you want to get deep, Ode Osbourne.
And then Gordo?
I said Perez.
Okay, cool. So those were our dogs. But yeah, guys, we're going to head out of here. If you guys have not already, be sure to like the video, subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio. Weezy, where can they find you? What you got going on tonight?
Tonight, 10 o'clock Central Time, I'll be going live for Ask Weezy. You can I'm going to open up my database of UFC statistics to you guys, my prop templates, my advanced stats, and you can ask me any questions about any of the fighters on this week's roster. And I'm also starting to work on the stats for next week too, so I'll have most of those ready as well. So just join me tonight, 10 o'clock. And then after that, I'll be doing a greasy 4-leg parlay on my channel, Uncle Weezy, as well. But other than that, I'm done for the week. So let's all stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Vegas 70. Good luck, everyone.
Yes, sir. Monk, how about you? What do you have going on this week?
Let's see. You can check out my game theory video. You guys are killing it this week already. It's over on the Monk Maddox channel. I go over every fight from a DFS perspective, give you the most pertinent stats to help you make those choices. Salary Voodoo is out right now on the MMA Engine. I actually got it recorded on time this week, so it is out and live now. Find me on the Kill Shot at DFS Army podcast earlier today. I don't know if there's going to be a happy hour this week. Lou is out of town, so I'm not sure if there's going to be a happy hour. We'll see what's going on there. But, yeah, I'll figure out something, and you can check me out on those spots as well. Check out all my other guys, too. Check out Weezy tonight and Ask Weezy. Gordo, I'm sure he's doing something from the hotel. What do you got, Gordo?
What you got, Gordo?
Yeah, well, you can find a video of mine on Plays and Fade Sports. It should be uploading soon, but with the state of my Wi-Fi, it'll probably be up in 18 years. I'll try my best to get it up there. No promises, but yes, you can find that at Plays and Fade Sports on YouTube, Twitter, at Gambles, Gordo Gambles. Message me there if you got any questions, and best of luck, everybody, this weekend.
Sounds good. You can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers, YouTube, DFS by the numbers. You also catch me on the MMA Engine, of course, here on Pub Sports Radio. Like, subscribe. Best of luck for UFC Vegas 70, and we'll talk to you guys soon.